All right, welcome back, everybody. We had to take a break. That was tough. We shook it off, switched up the scenery a little bit. We're back, and I believe in taking breaks. It is what it is. Like I said, we can't solution everything at one time. So why don't we do this, Dr. Sarah? Can you talk about the negative impacts, the negative and the positive impacts of reality television, and what that can potentially do to an individual and or a family?
Absolutely. Anytime we talk about psychological safe spaces, the concept or the notion of that is underrated when it comes to reality television. And as I mentioned at the onset of our interview, that reality television often is the furthest thing from reality. The mindset that the individual lives are there for entertainment and not to create a space for actual human growth and development. It does impact the family unit. It can traumatize and cause dysfunction within an already probably strained type of family dynamic.
Okay. So Marquez, we're here, and that was kind of rough for you.
Yeah. It was that wasn't, I didn't mean to do. I wasn't playing. It was that was tough for me too to do. I mean, I've done it on TV and that was real, but to have that moment again, yeah, it's a little. It was triggering, but it was clarity. I mean, it was more understanding too, is what she was saying and the impacts that that I've been feeling, and it kind of came down on me. So sorry for crying.
It's all right. You being human.
But see, I'm being human, but I also feel like anytime that I think we cry or I cry or men cry, people look at it like what she said, oh, here you go with the waterworks. My tears are like, I can't help it. Maybe it's because my mom raised me or whatever. I try not to. Like I'm strong, but like in moments it's just like I feel defeated in a sense, and I don't know what else to do, because I know I can't like lash out or I can't do certain things, and I just feel overwhelmed. So yeah, it came out.
I want to go back to something you say. You feel like, well, you were very clear that you were released, done, because of your interview with me, because there was some talk around they didn't feel like you gave them the opportunity to tell your story.
Yes.
When it comes to telling stories on reality based on your experience, how much time does a crew and a production team need in order to capture the essence of an individual, to be able to roll out a story?
I'm gonna tell you what they told me.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was gonna tell you what they told me, and I'm gonna let her make it simple.
Okay.
They told me it was a slow burn.
A slow burn?
Yes, my story was gonna be a slow burn, so just sit back and allow it to play out. But it's not gonna be easy at front, but it's gonna be a slow burn.
Okay. What does that mean to you as a clinical psychotherapist? A slow burn?
To me, it sounds like, and this is just an interpretation from my clinical perspective, not the fact that I work with production on this particular project.
Gotcha.
But it was the agenda already established to set the tone, and if the cast member was not aware of what exactly were going to be the dynamics. Now, we understand that there is the need for an element of drama and somewhat level of surprise. However, I think the psychological safety of the human being needed to be exercised. So the terminology of slow burn removes ourselves from the human experience.
Oh, in what ways?
In the way that we are setting up a dynamic where the individual, we will degrade that person's emotional safety, and we will be able to watch that slowly burn away.
She might get me cry again, man. She got something. She knows
Did you hear
exactly
what she said?
No, and then
With the
I
slow
overstand.
burn and what that means? Can
No,
you say that part again about the emotional removal slowly? Can you repeat that?
The emotional removal, and that the dynamic is set up where it degrades the human experience to the point that we as observers can watch the individual slowly degrade, and it's the human experience that is relinquished from the process.
And for me, it was more or less like, hey, yeah, whatever story is out here now, if you stick with this and you stay, and we were able to capture your story moving forward, then eventually they'll come around. But I don't know how true that is, if that really works in reality TV, where to me, almost essence, they said it would be like a year or two before people would really understand my story. So I think what
was that based off of? What research did they do that you would have to be different? It's going to take people 2 years to get to.
I don't know about any
I'm being
research.
sarcastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that, but that's what I'm saying.
Does that sound?
Me coming into reality TV and not knowing and hearing these conversations of, because I told them my frustrations, like, hey, I don't like how I'm being portrayed, and they're like, look.
But now you have a psychotherapist in front of you, and I want to make sure what she's saying is landing. Did you get what she's saying about the slow burn?
Yes.
And what that means from a clinical perspective?
Yes.
So does it make what is it that? Okay, we got to keep it real, y'all. Do you understand the setup for the fall? Those are my words.
Looking, okay, as of today, and looking back and reflecting on where I started, what has occurred between then and then now that I'm no longer, being allowed to film, absolutely, it makes more sense now than it has before, because I didn't see it or understand. But now, like, the stuff that's been put out about me, the ability to mute me and control the narrative moving forward, and they still have 4 episodes that they're going to probably put out that I don't know how that's going to look.
Okay.
So, but yes, I do understand the
Okay.
setup for the fall and for people.
But I also want to talk about ways that you may have contributed to the narrative. Can you talk a little bit about that? Are there instances, because I don't want to make excuses, because I believe each individual, you, Trish, and Ken, have contributed to the toxicity of it all. But can you walk us through the narrative and how we can unknowingly, are there situations where we unknowingly contribute to the narrative as individuals in reality television?
As individuals as a whole.
As a whole?
Yeah, like in our relationships, even if the relationship has toxic communication patterns, there's still some level of reward as a result of engaging with that person. Like innately, it's something that each party receives by those interactions, because even negative interaction is some type of interaction. Because if there are open wounds, if there are unresolved issues, then skirting around by the micro conflicts, sometimes big conflicts, still allows for that space to be enmeshed with that person.
Okay.
So maybe the need was to find resolution, but at the same time, there must be resolution, but you have to detach from those negative feelings attached to that person. And I can break that down a little bit more.
Probably in layman's,
Yeah,
for them that may
absolutely.
get confused. But, yeah.
Okay, so in our relationships, we met, we fell in love, we were friends. There were positive things about spending time with the person. Over time, there was conflict. But there was a part of you that still wanted to kind of go back to that place where that person, maybe even before the relationship started, because there was a friendship. If this person does not interact with you at all, you still have some level of connection to them if they are fighting with you. Because at some point in the friendship or the beginnings, there was a little conflict, and then you had a reconciliation period. So you seek after that. It's kind of like a marathon race, but then there's no finish line. You just keep going, You keep going and you keep going, hoping to recapture maybe what was there before the relationship maybe even began.
Yeah, and I just wanted. Yes, I do. I do feel like, man, it's hard for me to really explain. But yes, it definitely was. It was. It's been a lot of unresolved issues between myself and Trish that were never able to really. We weren't able to talk about and get resolved, and then coming into this television stuff really just it exacerbated. And every time we came, it was conflict based because that's what they wanted, and or that's what she may have wanted, and because she's like, oh, we're doing this, but in my eyes and my approach was I was trying to be genuinely trying to make this work, but also be on TV, that reality in real life. I was thinking I could bring both, but those environments weren't set up for us to really.
Was it too much for you? Real talk. If we're talking real talk, if you just keep it real at 1,000, now that you look back, whatever was festering, whatever was attempting to be created, was it too much? Not by just, was it messy? Was it too much?
I mean, I'm built different, so for me, so no, it wasn't too much.
Okay.
But yes, it was too much, if that makes sense. No, it wasn't too much for me but it was too much on the people around me and all of the people that were affected by what me being on TV. But me, I went into it knowing it was gonna be a lot. Maybe I should. I don't know. Let me re-answer that.
Yeah. Take your time.
Let me see.
Yeah. I asked.
Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, you're right.
I hone in
to
on the
cut you off.
psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Let me tell you why I asked you that.
It was too much.
Thank you.
I gotta sit back and really, like I said, be here, and we're in a different space, and not that, because now as I process what you're saying, it was too much.
Thank you.
It's a lot.
That's deep. That's real. Yeah. To me, that's a start. A start of what? Fill in the blank, Dr. Sarah.
That's a big start, because if you were prepared, then that would have probably prevented the crash out, as you describe it, right?
That's why, yeah.
Exactly. Now, with storytelling and utilizing someone's narrative, there's value to that. There are pluses to that. We can't necessarily see reality TV as a whole as the enemy, as the antagonistic force in our behaviors. Had there not been micro conflicts already, unresolved issues that, were expanded because it found its way into the lives of other people that are not involved, which is the viewers of the show. But if you say I was, saying you probably may not have been prepared for all of this. Like there were some parts of you.
I thought I was.
Yes.
I thought I was. Like I really felt like I had put thought into it. I really felt like I had prayed about it, and I don't know if I was like a full, like I think God was telling me like, okay, you think you understand, I'm gonna let you see. I do feel like I'm built different and I can handle a lot of things, and I know that, but I think now, like I said, as everything has come to today and where it is, it has been a lot.
I don't think you could have prepared. I keep it real. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I think nobody can prepare when somebody has an ideology of how they want to portray you. That's neither to excuse or diminish your accountability for how you contributed, but I think once somebody has an idea of how they want to roll you out, I don't think you can prepare. I don't think I would be able to prepare. I don't think Winter was able to prepare. So I think you're one of many. And I think until we continue to break this down and demand more, not only from you, people like you as cast members, but also from production, from networks to say, listen, we understand a little bit of entertainment. We like it. We like a little bit of drama, but what gives? So this isn't to make excuses for you. I just want people to understand sometimes you're up against something, a force that's way bigger than you, that you can't pray your way through. It is what it is. They're locked. they're loaded, no one in particular, and they're going to get it one way or the other, or you will be asked to leave.
And that's why now where I'm at, when we talk about accountability, we use that word a lot. People say, oh, he's not taking accountability. That's what I'm seeking. How do I take accountability? How do I get through my head as to what did I do to contribute and what did I do wrong? So now, like, I think me not filming is putting me in a space of really reflecting on, like, what did I do, or what am I doing, and how do you fully take accountability though, and apply it to my life, to where we're not stuck on all of this, and you can see that I'm actually moved forward, and I understand where I went wrong, what I did. I shouldn't have crashed out. I shouldn't have, if you want to say left my family or whatever. I came in there trying to defend myself, but not really knowing how to maneuver that space and take accountability, and that's where I'm at now. How do I really fully take accountability and apply it to my life?
Let's start from the accountability part, because it's the dynamics of the family, then the crash out, then you. So it's a lot. Can you start from the accountability? How does he take accountability from where he is right now, moving forward? What does that look like?
The beginning is a tough assessment and analysis of where this all really began. And it started before signing up for the show. It started when you have a motivation to be a part of a project that may have the potential to do harm to you, your children, your children's mom. And not in a sense that you have a responsibility for factors that you couldn't control, things you didn't know about. But what elements were present within me that leaves me vulnerable to being emotionally manipulated? Because at some point during the creative process, maybe a few lights would have went off that said, hey, wait a minute, I don't like the direction of this. And you might be the catalyst for change. Yes, this was a hard crash out. This was a negative event, but it's also going to be an opportunity for you to catapult to the next level, like the next season. Your accountability starts with not saying more, but doing more, because you've been very vocal about how you feel. You've been very vocal about how bad the action was. You know that if someone threatened you, or even your spouse or your children, you take it seriously. So now we are where we are. So next level. And the next level means the behavior. Like, what am I going to change? What am I on a daily basis? What is the best version of myself? So that if someone was observing you, you didn't say anything, they were just watching your day-to-day interactions, they would see, yes, he had a very negative outcome from his time on the show, but look what he's doing with that experience.
That makes sense, and that's where I'm at now. Is how do I take the negative and turn it into a positive, and truly apply it to my life, and stop speaking so much, and actually, like you said, do more. I think that's where I got caught up in the emotion, and I let my emotions kind of drive me and kind of stop me from doing things, because I was so upset about this and this, and feeling like I'm nobody's listening to hearing. But instead of just doing certain things, I could have probably prevented a lot of this.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm realizing now. And can I clarify too? Text messages, I wasn't talking about my kids. If we were talking about harming somebody, I wasn't talking about
matters.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think so. What you think?
Because people, it doesn't matter. I wasn't talking about my kids, but I guess I said it. I don't know. I'm struggling with why I even spoke in that way, because I've never spoke to her in that, like that.
Okay, can I intervene here?
Sure.
Okay. You wrote it out in a text, correct?
Right.
Okay.
We were, yes.
But internal dialogue, meaning what you didn't say, have you felt strongly about her? Meaning you didn't communicate it, but you felt it.
Yes, of course. I felt
Okay. So that moving forward, when you have that come up, because I hear you have real big emotions and you don't have a place for them to go. You've mentioned that you are creative, that you have an interest in doing creative projects, and you can pour some of that anger and those negative feelings into that. But before the text was written, it's there was some emotional dialogue already that had already been transpiring. It's like a lot of times a fire doesn't just start and just blaze through an entire community. It starts with a spark.
My thought process was I always was the one trying to be positive and try to save face, and even in our conversations, like she would say crazy vile things and I would just be like trying, and then in that moment after all of what occurred, it just those thoughts and then the text came through as like, because I knew that if I say this, then it's I guess it's playing into like how our kind of relationship had been towards the times when we weren't good, where we would send things where we didn't truly mean, but we were reacting.
So let me ask you something. Is that the dynamics of y'all's relationship? Saying nasty, ugly things to each other?
It wasn't, no, not for me, but for
that's why I said y'all's relationship.
See, that's where I'm trying to take accountability
So
because
that's yes or no?
But that's a twofold question because for me
no,
it wasn't.
I said, is that the dynamics of y'all's relationship?
It has been, but not. It was not during our time when we were married and everything was good.
Y'all are still married.
When we were living in the same house.
But y'all are still married. So has that been the dynamics of the course of the relationship?
For the last, since we've been filming. Since we've been filming. And then we had that moment of reconciliation where it wasn't like that. But never is probably as nasty as probably that.
So that was as nasty as it's gotten?
Yes.
Okay. You talked a little bit, we both kind of talked a little bit about, what your hope was. And then you said, yeah, that may have been a bit much. I know you were hoping, you said previously, to come in and defend yourself and change the narrative. My question to you is, if you were allotted that opportunity, what would have been the next step after that? Let's just say you were able to come in, rearrange the narrative, get on a positive note with your wife, with the kids and all of that. What would have been the next step for remaining on the show and working alongside your wife?
Showing us overcoming, the challenges of growing up, being married, and then pretty much showing us co-parenting and showing us how we were gonna flourish and even, connect with Ken and show this different dynamic on TV as two, people that had conflict, got a divorce, but came together for the betterment of the children. And that was the goal, was to showcase, things that I'm doing business-wise, and then also, bring that co-parenting and positive back to, that was my hope. That was like the goal, was to show that, okay, we conflict, but we're co-parenting now.
Is that feasible in the world of reality we live in now, in the direction reality? Let me ask you this. Why do Black folks get on TV and do the most for the least? Is that feasible for what we're seeing?
Well, that's a two-part question.
Okay.
First of all, I'm an optimist. I'm a therapist. I believe that healing can occur at any level, unless, there's real serious boundaries were crossed when there was a threat, which we have entertained enough. We know what the dynamics were. Moving forward and seeing a family be able to have some level of recovery, reconcile is kind of a hard. We're early in terms of reconciliation, but recovery from the traumatic event, recovery from the conversation, acknowledgement of this was an inaccurate way to manage that, taking ownership for our own feelings, and how we contributed to that. Okay. Now, within the Black community, we have been disenfranchised and ignored largely, and the Black experience has been not portrayed always in the best light. Okay, there are situations where a Black family can sign up for a reality TV with the impression that this is going to somehow make their life better, make experience better, gain popularity, and basically receive something that was lost. Whether they lost self-esteem, just wanting to basically reclaim some things. So yes, when you have disenfranchised, marginalized type of community like the Black community, you can see where they will sign up for reality TV situations that are not healthy.
So why do we, okay, and I know we say where our stories are kind of like we're not being portrayed in the most positive light, but why are we signing up for it? Because there'll be somebody that'll gladly step in his place and act a damn fool. So what is it about us and our pathology that'll say, use me, exploit me? We're not saying it, but we are in some ways.
Perhaps then the thought process is that it's not going to happen to me.
And
was that what you were
my
thinking?
thought process, like I said, when I keep saying this, I did not come into this saying I want to just be on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Like the opportunity came out of nowhere, and I wouldn't even call it opportunity. It was something that was presented to me in a different form.
Right.
And being that my daughter's a dancer, I'm like, no problem. But when I look at the paperwork and I realize what it was, she finally says it. But at that moment, they had already been filming.
Right.
So then when I had these supplemental conversations with my son to kind of ask him, like, have y'all been? And he's like, yeah, well, they've been kind of saying and asking these questions that made me feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, hold on, y'all been filming. So I think my idea of coming into it was not that, oh, I just want to do anything to get on TV and get a check. I was like, they can't possibly been on here saying anything positive about me, and they're going to. We've been married for too long, and
So
they're going.
You thought, ain't no way these people up here.
Ain't no way they're talking positive about me or not talking about me at all. When my son is telling me he feels uncomfortable.
Let me ask you this. I believe there's so many different components, and y'all know we keep it real, Palace. There's a level of accountability for you, but I'm still coming back to the Black excellence of it all, or the lack thereof. From a production standpoint, I believe the lines have been crossed when anybody is physically touched on a show and there's no repercussions for the person that did the touching. Were you touched on this show? Was there a physical altercation? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Did that person initiate?
Yes.
Okay. Has that person been asked to leave the show that you know
Not that I'm aware of.
No?
No.
But you have been because you did an interview.
Correct.
Where are we with that? The clinical component of that. You get attacked, and then you do a few interviews, and because we don't like the person that you're interviewing with, not only did you get attacked, we're not going to address that, and then we're going to release you under a technicality. What does that say to the psychological and the mental health of the castmates? And is there an investment from the part of the network in production, or is it no?
Honestly, I have to keep it real. I think that any clinical concerns have left the building when you allow anyone to be a victim in that way physically and allow not even the opportunity for acknowledgement and some level of reconciliation in terms of the event, because the trauma of it is a separate conversation. Now, we are confusing having clinical sensitivity and emotional intelligence with screenwriting, narratives, production. Those are different because the media and television world was built on entertainment, not built on managing and often balance psychologically. So to fuse those two worlds, there has to be a boundary that has to be set on set with our cast, these are the absolute no's. The no is someone physically assaults someone. No. Someone threatens someone. No. Et cetera, et cetera. Children, blah, 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 hurt. No. Now, the individuals that are planning and preparing this type of, I don't know what the word, script writing?
Whatever.
Whatever.
It is at this point.
Need maybe to have the opportunity to learn about the total impact, because it's not just a psychotherapy issue or a mental health issue. It's a community issue. It impacts how other communities, other cultures view us.
Yes.
That it is okay for the Black community to mistreat each other. Like it's the norm, and it is not the norm.
You said something, which is going to cause me to ask you a question. You said it's very important that we watch basically how we show up, because other cultures, other races are watching us like, wow. Is that an all-Black production team? I'm asking for a reason that you've seen.
The production team is primarily Black in field.
So,
but I believe the production team in California is white.
But the team that you've worked with?
Yes.
All Black.
All Black except for but three white, but majority Black.
So no.
No.
Okay, got it. Okay, I thought it was.
No,
so
it's not. No, it's not fully Black. No.
Okay, no, got it.
Not at all.
How does it make you feel to know that you've been dismissed for doing an interview, and also the text messages, but not the text messages, because I feel like that's fair. That you've been dismissed for your behavior, and Ken gets to stay for attacking you. How does that make you feel, as far as your value?
Man, I don't know. Like I think there's a bit of, I think with them being main cast members and already having a relationship with whoever they have, I think they wanted to kind of protect them, and I think I was coming in there and I was shaking it up, and it wasn't allowing them to portray, like, create the narrative that they really wanted, and so they kind of they kind of figure out a way to get me out of there. But it makes me feel confused. Okay. Because I don't really know. I think I know they said that we're not allowed to fight. In this instance,
did they break it up?
No, and I gave them ample opportunity.
Hold on, did they break it up?
No,
you're not allowed to fight.
No, and I stood
but
there. But
nobody broke it up.
Queen Sheba, I stood there and told him, I said, look, I'm looking at the production and the people. I'm saying, look, this is getting real, and if y'all don't want us to fight, I suggest y'all do something.
And nobody made a move?
They just stood there and watched.
Okay.
Decisions are made sometimes based on what is going to appeal to the consumers. As a community, if we start to reject and we maintain our integrity, it is not going to be a viable market for that type of behavior. The passive approach to the potential for physical violence is a problem, it's problematic. And the individuals that were present may not have had the understanding, the training, because they come from the mindset of, I guess, the more drama, the better. And I'm just speaking from, this is Dr. Sarah, who is a non-media person. I don't have media training. I don't own a production company. I don't know what they're thinking, and I want to make sure I make that disclaimer. But I'm speaking from, if this was any other situation, if this was at work or in a school or any other setup, that if someone is about to have a physical altercation, their intervention is the next step. Intervention. Whether breaking it up, separating. They broke it up
once we started fighting. I said they broke it up. Sorry, they broke it up once we were having an altercation. Then they came out of nowhere. But in the moment where it's about to go down.
No.
And mind you, no one's backing down or saying, hey, come save me. But I'm just like, hey, if y'all saying that we not supposed to be, then, hey, this is your chance. Because if not, everything else goes out the window.
I want to remind the audience, and I want you to remind Dr. Sarah, where were you when this physical altercation occurred?
I was in Trish and Ken's house.
He was in his
with
wife's
my son
and her
and my
boyfriend's
daughter
home.
were upstairs.
And the kids were upstairs.
And they watched. My son broke it up, and my daughter watched it from upstairs.
Your son came downstairs.
Broke it up. Well, he was part of that, and he also followed me outside, and I didn't know that he had put on the production's sweater, so I was yelling at him, thinking he's the producer, and it's my son the whole time. And they were following me with the cameras too.
What's the impact of something like that? The gravity of the children watching their parents.
The vicarious trauma of watching any kind of violence or domestic abuse has serious impact and implications on their emotional development and how they learn to manage their own emotions. Your awareness that the children was present. You were aware, correct?
Yeah, they
all
were
adults.
upstairs in
They
the
were
room. Yes.
upstairs.
Yeah,
Okay.
they weren't part of
Did you know
filming.
that when you were invited to that house to shoot that scene? Did you know your kids were upstairs?
Yes, I talked to my son
And
my
the
daughter.
mom and your wife knew the kids were upstairs.
Yes.
And your wife's boyfriend knew that the kids were upstairs.
Yes.
So all adults knew the kids were upstairs. Go ahead.
My
I'm
son
sorry.
had just came home too, by the way,
Okay,
from being
okay.
with me to be upstairs.
So everybody agreed for me to be here in this space, correct? And I'm going to do what I do. And as much as I acknowledge and affirm your experience, I also have to say that you, above all things, you're the dad. Right?
Yes.
When you saw this developing into the potential of a physical altercation, that was your signal.
But that's what I was doing.
I'm out.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make
Did
it
he hit you before you had a chance, or were you all already engaged in a heated argument that could potentially end in physical violence?
We were engaged in a conversation. He told me to get out or he'll throw me out. And I said, okay. And I was leaving. As I was leaving, I told him, you're wrong for allowing this to mess up what we were trying to do for some TV.
Hold on.
And then he got him out.
Okay, so in the first meeting, we talked about putting space between you and your anger, you and your emotions. That's going to be one of those things that you just got to practice every day. When he said, leave, you can think it, you can feel it, but you can't act on it. When he asked you to leave, leave. Because my children are upstairs. Not dismissing accountability by anybody else.
Right.
Not putting this all on you. I'm not. But I am keeping it real. Okay? My kids are upstairs. It's not worth having this argument with him. When I'm leaving and I say one more thing, and we know we're already there, this is our outcome. Because this will play out again, unfortunately. You know how you have those bad situations and then you find yourself somewhere again facing the same demon? It's because the universe is looking to see change. So you don't say one more thing. You leave, because the peaceful person is the powerful person in this. You walk with that. You walk out with that, saying, I'm keeping peace because that's my power.
So,
See,
hold on. Pause.
Yes.
Because what you are establishing with him, somewhat in this moment, is a quick, fast therapeutic alliance and giving you strategies to use as coping tools as you move forward. So should you be in that situation again, now you know.
So we're moving forward from today. I got you. That's what you're saying.
I'm going to go. I've been asked to leave.
Right.
I'm going to go because my kids are more important than anything I have to say or anything that they got going on.
That's why I feel that pride. I don't know if it's pride. I don't know what it was. This amount of disrespect.
She said your feelings.
My feelings I was in my feelings for sure, and I felt disrespected.
Okay, let's
I
talk
did.
about what it was. I don't know what it was. Tell you what it was. you mentioned how you felt in this situation, invalidated constantly. Without the cameras rolling or with them rolling, this is how you felt. So in this moment, that was the time that you said, I refuse to feel disrespected and invalidated. I'm going to stand up for myself. But the timing was horrible.
Right plan, wrong time.
Right. Your children being in the home with the partner and the wife, and you living somewhere else, is a different experience for a father. That can feel like I'm being pushed out. So now this person is telling me to get out. That's for you in your back of your mind. You're hearing, you're telling me to get out of the lives of my kids. You're telling me to get out of the lives of, I'm not important. So I'm going to say one more thing to cement my importance here. And then it was pow. But the important thing is for the children to witness you in this entire dynamic. Maybe be that person. Maybe you are going to be that person. And that is no disregard for the mother's experience or even for his experience. But as just saying, in this space that we're in right now, moving forward, we know if it's a pressure cooker, your strategy is walk, schedule my appointment, my therapy session, my coaching session, go for the gym, whatever it is you do, your creative work, your music, something to kind of put space between you and those feelings.
Did she hit that when she said being asked to come, somewhere and then turn around, get out? Did she hitting the nail on the head?
It's like I had a conversation with a good friend, and he was telling me like, "Hey, you got to be at a point where you just say you got it, you got it." And that was a moment where I should have just said, "You got it, you got it." I should have. That was the moment I should have left, but
I like that.
I didn't. And see, we unpacking a lot right here on camera, and I think it's great, and I need to continue this. You know what I'm saying? Like moving forward, and I'm feeling a lot of different emotions, so I'm trying to articulate it in a way.
A process.
I'm trying to process it because I've always been open, but to have someone, because like you're hitting everything on the head as far as like how I be thinking and how I've been thinking and how I've been feeling, but you're telling me that it's like now it's like you gotta the bigger picture, which is what I keep saying. At those moments I had that emotional reaction. I didn't see the bigger picture, and I set myself back. So now it's like, now I gotta say, you got it, and just go with it.
And I want to make sure we're not sending the wrong message by saying men are not allowed to feel, because that would be irresponsible. I want to make sure we're not saying that, because I think you should feel some kind of way about everything that's going on, because it's not the ideal situation, but you can't take it and move forward and figure out how can we make this work. I think there's an opportunity there. I think men should be allowed to feel and talk more about what's going on so that we don't DCO or CO, crash out, right? So that we don't crash out. And I think this is a great introduction to problem solving together as a group, as a village, under the umbrella of Black excellence. I like the fact that you showed up and you said, wait a minute, it was too much now that I think about it. Number two, you know what? I should have left. Number three, you're right. I did feel rejected yet again. I'm trying, I'm showing up, I'm on the camera under the guise of working together. Oh, we need a moment at the sacrifice of me as the father. That hurts. That would hurt a mother, right? That would hurt a mother. So what do we do? How does he move forward? What does he take from this and do what with it?
Moving forward, really focusing on ownership of your integrity, your confidence, your self-respect, your reputation. That's yours. If someone chooses to mischaracterize you, that's them. They don't own that anyway. You do. Because all of us have been subject to defamation. Queen Shiba has. I have. It happens to a lot of us. And the more time you spend defending that, the less opportunity you'll have to really like just grow. And that's not saying allow narratives to just spin. It's natural to want to protect your name, your legacy. But look at some people that you admire and see how they've been attacked. And watch how they went up from it. They rose to the top. And we have a lot of examples, and I will call some names, but I don't know what I'm allowed to do. But we were just talking the other day about how certain people have been attacked.
Oh, yeah.
And how they have risen above all of it. There's lots of evidence to show that your character on a television show, if it was mischaracterized, is not a life sentence. And I want you to take that in your spirit and in your soul, that you are not permanently linked to the negative narrative.
And I appreciate it. I think that's what I was going into, even filming, was that the negative narrative has been out there, and I was always trying to figure out a way to defend it and try to prove something. And it wasn't resonating well. It didn't come off well. And man, this is a lot.
Your depression, the crashing out, the response to it is feeding the narrative. It's making the monster bigger.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll be back. Welcome back, y'all. Listen, we had a hell of a conversation off screen, and I just asked them to hold on for a second because we're kind of going back and forth, and y'all are used to this dialogue, so I'm just going to bring it on camera. The question that was posed to Marquez is, what is it that made you go on that show? And he says, to defend myself. I pushed back. I said, I'm going to call Cap. I think you went on the show because you want to be with your family.
Yeah, and that's where I call Cap, because...
You call Cap back on me?
Yeah, because it's not that... That's my feelings were to defend myself. Like I said, we're in a different space before this TV stuff. So me and Trish were actually communicating, and it was non-toxic. So, but it was the feeling of betrayal, of feeling like you're saying negative things and then finding out that it was a bunch of things that were misrepresented. And the whole point of wanting to even continue filming was to feel like my story is not being told correctly.
You call Cap or you believe him? You call Cap?
But initially, when we take that off the table, were you in a space that you felt included in the family unit somehow, in the new family?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
And your identity is part of your identity is being a parent and being a husband.
Okay.
Good. So the show gave you a simulation of that.
I'm struggling with y'all. I'm sorry. I'm struggling. And y'all maybe there's deeper things that we can't unpack right now at this very moment. But in my mind,
possibly or not.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
To be close to your family.
When we say close to my family, it's my children.
That's your family.
Now, okay, well, when we say, okay,
that's your family.
My family, but then there's a different dynamic when you're married with children.
Don't get too deep on it.
I felt a sense of betrayal. I felt like I was being misrepresented. I reacted off emotion. I felt like I could tell my story, and then we could figure it out, and maybe this will help us come to some kind of like, because we obviously got the divorce going. We obviously had a conversation where Ken and I kind of things that never happened prior to the filming that we already had conflict.
Okay.
But I felt like I was defending myself based on the things that I was being told. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be feeling included, but of course I've been excluded from a lot of things.
And how does that? You cool with that, or how?
No, not at all. I'm not cool. I'm not cool with it. But the part of the accountability part is that, okay, I allowed for a lot of that to happen based on my feelings, based on feeling alienated and feeling sorry. It wasn't that I just left, and it's never that I not communicated, or it was things that were, when people do things that alienate you, or they do things that kind of keep you from doing, like it kind of breaks you down to where you kind of like,
do you regret
it's less
leaving?
likely. Yeah, yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I regret leaving when I did.
In the way you did.
Yes. But I do not regret leaving my
That's
marriage.
my first time hearing you say that.
But yes, definitely. Definitely would have did differently. For the betterment, for what the core true feelings that I have inside is truly my feelings stem from my children. Whether people can say what they want, because if we didn't have children, I would not care what Trish and
No,
Kid
I'm
had
still
going.
marinate on you sharing your truth, that you regret leaving. That's
Yeah.
what I'm still there. I'm still in that car.
Yes.
Thank you. One of the questions I had asked kind of off camera was about why the identity is so tied up in this. And you just said it is because it is saturated in some guilt a little bit about maybe the timing of when you left and how you left. You would have preferred to have done it differently. And now that we know better, we do better. We approach that in a way of, if I could do things over, I would do this differently.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to the individuals that were hurt. And it means a lot to you because you care about the hearts of those involved.
Most definitely.
Okay.
I still care about Trish's feelings, even despite that, because like I said, there was once time where we were a family unit, and it's nothing like that.
Yeah. Priceless.
Priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Even in the moments where you're not really, everybody's in the same space, So yes, I do, but we're here now.
But yes, I do. Period.
Yeah.
That's good enough. And the reason why I say that's good enough, because you don't have to defend your heart.
That's amazing. That's when I was talking about say less and do more. That's what that means.
Yeah.
I think when we get to the bottom of the truth of how we really feel as a people, as a collective, as a whole, I think we show up better in our soft places. And I want to give all of you permission to continue to unpack as much as you need to so that you can find your sweet spot in life. I think you did. The fact that you're sitting here with two women and talking.
Yes.
You said a couple of times, wait a minute, y'all. Whoa. Whoa. Is it heavy? It's a lot?
It's heavy, but it's needed. I mean, and I'm open. I'm obviously I'm open to it, and you've extended yourself, and Dr. Sarah's extended yourself and expertise and care and love. So, if I can truly say that I'm trying to take accountability and receive it, then of course I'm thankful to be here. It's not easy. It's a lot, and it's a lot more to the story, and more to my story, and more to unpack. But
that's why we're talking.
We growing.
You know what I'm saying? Rome was not built in a day. But how many times do you see a black man actually sit down and talk? Because a lot of times men tend to want to resolve and solution first. So I see what you're doing. You're going through your heads to make it make sense, solutioning, right? The masculinity of it all. But this is like such a vulnerable moment, showing up just as you are, flaws and all. And I appreciate your courageousness. I appreciate all of you tuning in. And this is what it looks like when you truly start to do the work. It's not perfect. Sometimes it's ugly moments, but he's here. We're here. We're supporting you. We're holding you accountable. And you go, and you go, and you go.
But here's another thing real quick, though. It's like I do sit and I'm thankful for the two beautiful black women queening in the city, but
Queen Sheba.
Oh, my bad. Queen Sheba.
That's the other podcast I do. He's
two,
thinking about y'all.
Yeah, shout out. But two strong, and not to say that, and because I know using strong, but two beautiful, strong black women who care about black men. I'm now searching for where I need some men to talk to.
You've asked for what you needed. You've put it out there. You've shown moments of vulnerability. Thank you for having this conversation. Yeah, it was tough. I know it was tough. I think y'all know it was tough. It's not easy, y'all, to have two people coming at you, holding you responsible, but you did it. I appreciate it. What are your final thoughts that you would like to share with the audience? Take your time and process that. I'm going to come back to your final thoughts that either something you're taking away from today's conversation or you would like to leave them with. Dr. Sarah, I'm going to ask you the same question and I'm going to come back to you. As it relates to today's discussion, today's conversation, what are you taking away from the conversation? Or what would you like to leave the audience with? Think about that. Marquez.
Well, what I'm taking away from this is that I truly am at a point where real change has to happen now. Like I'm feeling real like crossroads of like showing true accountability. I'm remaining optimistic and prayerful of the future. You know, I'm staying strong to my family and my children, but it's just a lot to process, especially with me not being able to film moving forward. So I think that's part of where my mind is like, not knowing what the future holds, but I'm just trying to remain positive and truly make those changes. Not say less talking, a lot more doing.
Thank you. I love it. Dr. Sarah.
I really value this communication today and the opportunity to allow anybody watching to connect with you, to connect with your experience, and to understand the need for change and how these types of conversations can change the trajectory of what we view as entertainment.
Yeah, that's deep. What we view as entertainment.
Yes.
And as a reminder, to those of you that are tuned in, we listen, we don't judge. You ask for real life, you ask for the reality. This is the reality. Don't ask for it and then judge it. We're bringing it to you, raw, real, unscripted, unfiltered. He had no idea what he would be up against. We didn't prep him. It is what it is, and this is reality. This is the reality of it all, and we hope to continue to further discussions like this and just kind of get in where we fit in as it relates to real life and advocating and helping and moving the needle. Rome was not built in a day, and to you, what I would like to leave you with is this too shall pass.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen Shiba, for pouring into, me personally, even though we just kind of built the relationship, but you've shown a lot of grace and understanding and love, and that's rare. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr.
And
Sarah.
thank you, Dr. Sarah, for
Thank you so
making
much.
me cry.
We appreciate you. I hope we can continue to utilize you in moments like this, if you'll say yes, if you'll come back. This is Dr. Sarah Williams, everybody. She was phenomenal, was she not? Marquez Burnett, and we thank you all for tuning in. And with that being said, thank you. We shall see you soon. Bye, everybody.